So here I am, a passenger in a car, traveling at 90 miles per hour with no brakes. Paul and I are on our way home from the Hydro Towers, one of the places we'd like to go to party. The Hydro Towers are exactly what you think they are. Huge steel electrical transmission towers that run for miles across southern Ontario. The entrance to the towers is a small nondescript, dirt road, off the 6th line of King Township. It's just north of King City Side Road on the right-hand side. If you follow that road through the woods about 1/2 mile, it will bring you to a clearing on the top of a hill. You are now on the Hydro Towers Trail. The Hydro Tower Trail is about 100 yards wide. It cuts a swath through the forest as far as you could see in both directions. It runs up and down the hills for miles. When you were on the trail, you could feel the electricity in the air. There was a buzzing sound when you got close to any of the towers. One night it was drizzling out and you could really hear them buzzing. It was loud, and the noise was everywhere. The wires themselves were glowing in the dark. They looked like dimly lit fluorescent lights traveling from one tower to another. No one would go anywhere near any of the towers that night. We were all afraid we would get electrocuted. Paul and I and many of our friends spent countless hours up at the Hydro Towers drinking and smoking pot. They were a popular place to hang out and party. One night, after having a beer and smoking a joint at the Hydro Towers, Paul and I decided to leave and drive home. It was about 11:30 on a clear night. We were southbound on the 6th line, approaching the stop sign at the intersection at King City Side Road. We were in Paul's 1967 American Motors Ambassador. It was a big, ugly, 4-door, 8-cylinder boat, and it had no brakes. Despite the fact the car had no brakes, Paul had a pedal to the metal. We were approaching the intersection and the upcoming stop sign at close to 90 miles per hour. Normally Paul didn't blow through stop signs, but we were out in the sticks. It was late at night, and there was never any traffic on these roads anyway. Not until now. Eastbound on King City Side Road, we could see the headlights of an oncoming car. We were both converging on the intersection fast. Paul put his foot on the brakes. We heard the rumble of the brake shoes engaging with the drums, but nothing else happened. The car did not slow down. The other car was getting closer to the intersection, and by the looks of things we were going to hit. We had no time. There was nothing we could do. We were going to go through the intersection no matter what the consequences. There were only two choices. We could either coast through the intersection or hit the gas. We didn't know which to do, and there was no time to decide. Either way, it could be deadly. Paul hit the gas. We crossed in front of the other car just feet ahead of it, a split second before it entered the intersection. And then we were through. It was over. We made it. The other car was gone. I don't think they saw us coming until the last moment. They may have swerved or hit the brakes. I don't know. It was over so fast. From the beginning, when we first saw the other car converging on the intersection, it only took seconds. There was no time to be afraid. There was no time for my life to flash in front of my eyes. There was no time to think about anything. That all came later. After we made it through the intersection, Paul took his foot off the gas and we coasted to a stop. For a few minutes we just sat there quietly. Then we rolled a joint. We were pretty freaked out. When we finally got going again, we talked about what had happened. I asked Paul, "What kind of car was that?" He said, "I don't know." Then I asked what color it was. He said, "It was red." I said, "No, it was blue." It went by so quickly we didn't even know what kind of car it was, or what color it was. That little episode is by far the scariest and most dangerous thing that has ever happened to me. Paul and I could have been killed. The people in the other car could have been killed too. For all we know, that car might have been a whole family, and full of little kids. There was no way of knowing who was in the other car. Or was there? I am 99% sure we ran into the driver of the other car at a party, no pun intended. It was a few months later when Paul and I were at a party in Aurora. We didn't know very many people there. That didn't matter. Parties are all about meeting folks and having a good time. We met a lot of new friends and talked about a lot of different things. One guy told us a story about a car speeding through an intersection and nearly hitting him on King City Side Road. Paul and I asked him to tell us what happened. He told us he was on his way home from a friend's place late one night. A car went through the stop sign right in front of him. It almost hit him. Paul and I questioned him. We were really interested in his story. We wanted all the details. The story he told us matched the events of the night in question perfectly, only it was from the point of view of the other driver. He told us he didn't see the other car until the last moment, when it suddenly sped through the intersection right in front of him. It nearly hit him. He swerved and went into the ditch on the other side of the crossroads. Paul and I listened to every word he had to say. We were amazed. It was our story, only from the other side. Now just a couple more things. The guy was alone in the car, and he was not injured. His car, however, sustained minor damage from going into the ditch. It was a Ford. Finally, remember when I asked Paul which color the car was? He said red. I said blue. Turns out it was green.